Are they going on any of what Bruce did? It's only the first section. Yeah.
Kasia and I have been singing with Jon for the last 3 years, I think, live. We've toured all over the world.
Yeah.
Out to Europe and South America. And he talked about wanting to do a new version of the Concerto, and he asked if we'd like to be involved, and of course we were very honoured.
I was too young to know. I mean, Deep Purple, I've heard about Deep Purple, but never knew who Jon Lord is. When he came to Poland, I met him, and then I fell in love with his music and with him. Every time we're playing and singing with him, it's like just pure magic.
You can't underestimate the influence that Jon has had with organ playing and with, his composition and the way he's kind of merged the two worlds together. I think that can never be underestimated, really.
You're just so great together. It's
beautiful.
perfect.
I think it's lovely.
Yeah.
And I think against Bruce's kind of...
Yeah, the muscular stuff that he does,
it
sounds beautiful.
Lovely. Jon?
I'm transported back to 1969.
I'm reading your mind. God, that's great.
When I first thought of that little tune, and then Gillan came up with those astounding words at about 3 minutes' notice,
Wow.
about being frightened in front of an orchestra, and it's just...
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
That's what it is, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting to see different singers interpreting this in their own way, and that's been part of the the process of renewing the piece.
Which is your best is more than good enough, darling.
The last take, the first verse I thought was nice of mine. It had a bit more.
Yeah, I think it had some character. A bit more.
What's good about this, and what was the whole idea really to begin with, was to get different guitar players for each movement, so that we could reflect, the characters of the different movements and use different musicians, and really make it more about the piece rather than about one particular band or one particular player. And so it's exciting now to see it taking shape with different kinds of personalities sort of stamping themselves on it.
I did send you the rough mix, didn't I?
Yes.
The one without any guitar. Mm-hmm. So then you
know.
It starts with just it's just guitar, bass, and drums, and then with you going on top.
Yeah.
Then it's the first verse, and you can comp behind the verse however you feel. Just make it your own.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Deep Purple. I'm a huge fan of Jon's playing. And I got involved in this project simply because Jon and I played a song together at the Albert Hall, and he was nice enough to ask me to play on this wonderful session, which is such a thrill for me. Let me punch that last one. Oops.
I think you should try that underneath the elbow. I like that.
Yeah, very much. What would be
It's the same idea. It's E minor, D minor, E major to C.
Yeah.
Today with Joe, it's been great because he was so instinctive as a musician. He heard what the music was. He had ideas, and each time we did it evolved from one thing into another. And by the end, his understanding was really strong. But he came in with a completely open mind about what it was. He doesn't read music, so he was just hearing and responding to Jon and to my suggestions.
My father introduced me to the British blues when I was a kid, and I listened to everything from Free to the Jeff Beck Group, a lot of the John Mayall and the Blues Breaker stuff, obviously with Eric Clapton and Peter Green, a lot of early Deep Purple. I'm just a fan of like British blues rock, and a lot of my music really kind of borrows from that playbook. And it's he's one of my favorite musicians in the world, and to actually be here doing this, it's like surreal. Even at Abbey Road, it's like, if you asked me when I was a kid if I'd be doing this, I probably would have said no.
Have it.
There you go.
The piece feels to me as though it's evolving. It's a slightly strange thing to think of because it's now, 42 years old, and you would have thought it's established now as a piece. But of course it was written for Deep Purple. John wrote it for Ritchie and for Ritchie's playing in mind, and then Steve Morse, of course, played the one that we did back in '99. And now John's played it with all sorts of other different players, and over the years I've done it with John with various different people. And still the piece is evolving, and it's still growing, and within the structure of the concerto there's still an awful lot of possibilities of different ways of playing the music and different ways of bringing it to life. And what's really joyous about this for me is today is hearing Joe play and hearing this movement now in a completely new way with Kasia and Steve doing the vocals, and with Bruce Dickinson that we did a few weeks ago. So now I'm looking forward to hearing what the other guys are going to bring in, and what will, be now, at least for the foreseeable future, the definitive recording of this piece.